Hank Aaron was triumphant in helping desegregate baseball. Throughout the 1950s through 70s, while playing for the Atlanta/Milwaukee Braves and the Milwaukee Brewers, Aaron proved himself to be the greatest baseball player of all time by overcoming racism and beating Babe Ruth's home run record.
February 5th, 1934 was a pivotal day in baseball history. This was the day Henry or Hank Louis Aaron was born. He was born in Mobile, Alabama, with two other siblings at the time. Right out the gate, Hank was exposed to racism. Living in the southern parts of the USA, he got it way worse. He saw how his father had to give up his place in line at a store when a white customer entered. There were times when his mother called him into the house and the family hid under a bed because the Ku Klux Klan was marching past their house. Aaron's early interest in baseball is how he pushed through racism. He created his own bats and balls using materials he found on the streets. Aaron would be expelled because he skipped classes so he could listen to Jackie Robinson's baseball games.
This is when he attended Josephine Allen Institute after being expelled from Central High School. Segregation was running wild, and only white students had high school baseball teams. So Aaron played a fast-pitch softball team. During this time, Aaron would play with locals at Carver Park. Aaron was noticed by Ed Scott, a manager of the Mobile Black Bears, an all-black semi-pro team, who promptly brought Aaron in. At the age of 18, Aaron got started and was playing for the Indianapolis Clowns, one of the few teams left in the Negro Baseball League. After only playing 26 Negro League games, Aaron received two offers from two MLB teams.
Teams were the Boston Braves and the New York Giants. Aaron later stated, "I had the Giants contract in my hand, but the Braves offered $50 a month more. That's the only thing that kept from me and Willie Mays from being teammates. $50. Aaron played 2 years of minor league baseball before he played in the majors. He was signed to Eau Claire, Wisconsin, in the minor leagues where he played for the Eau Claire Bears. This is where his coach corrected his cross-handed batting style.
Aaron won the league's Rookie of the Year award. The following year, he was assigned to the Jacksonville Braves in Florida. He was named the league's most valuable player in 1953. During games, all Hank heard was taunting and racial comments from so-called fans. It had been said that he even experienced racism from his own teammates. From his amazing play, he was brought up into the major leagues. In spring training, the team's starting right fielder was injured, so Hank won the starting position. This was when all the racism started to build up. Everybody from around America heard about the new black kid from Mobile, Alabama, coming into the spotlight.
In this time, he not only showed the Braves that he's a wonderful ball player, but he could also handle very harsh racism that had plagued baseball of that era. From 1954 to 1965, this was the peak of the civil rights movement. This is when Hank first came into the majors. Hank hit a ball so hard, Ted Williams came out from the clubhouse to say, "Who hit that ball?" In his third season, he won his first batting title in 1956. In the next season, he led the league in home runs. He had 44 home runs. He won the MVP and clinched the pennant. It was Milwaukee's first. That season, they beat the Yankees in the World Series. During the series, he hit .393 with 3 home runs. Hank was very shy at the time, and he did not give the press lots to write about.
In '58, he took the Braves within a game of going back-to-back in the World Series. He won his second batting title that year. Hall of Fame pitchers had no idea how to face Hank. He was just that good. Pitchers truly hated him. In 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. gave a speech during the March on Washington. Hank very much supported this movement. President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which prevented employment discrimination. In 1966, Hank and the Braves marched into Atlanta, where they were playing ball there.
Aaron crystallized a whole racial dynamic to the rest of the country. Aaron later stated, "It brings back a very foul taste in my mouth," he stated from Atlanta in mid-January. "I had to send my kids to private school. My daughter, who was in college at the time, couldn't even go out of her dorm. She was threatened with letters all the time. It was a horrible moment for me to try and break the record, really. The police were saying all of these were probably just crank letters, but some of them maybe were for real. The team stayed at one hotel, and I stayed at another. Sometimes I had to sleep all by myself in the ballparks. I even had to slip out the back doors of ballparks."
This is when Hank extended his influence off the baseball field. Hank wanted there to be a black manager someday. At the end of 1969, he was 35 and was still 160 home runs shy of Babe Ruth's record. He hit 47 home runs in 1971. It wasn't until September of 1973 when people realized Hank's greatness. This is when Hank received the most mail than anyone else in the league, and even most celebrities at the time. Lots of them addressing him as N-Boy. The FBI told him not even to open his own mail. He received many death threats. Him being good brought so many negative thoughts.
He wouldn't go anywhere because of racism. He would stay in his hotel room. If he traveled, he would travel with the FBI, said Frank Tepedino, a former teammate. Another teammate, Dusty Baker. He watched Aaron open letters sometimes. "I could see when he got a bad letter. He'd drop it and go right into the trainer's room," Baker said. "Get out of here, slur," what one of the letters said. At the end of the 1973 season, he was one away from breaking the record. In the 1974 opener, though, Hank wouldn't want to play. They had a moment of silence for the death of Martin Luther King Jr. This is the game he would tie Babe Ruth's 714 home runs.
Many celebrities came to the next game, a sellout crowd. There were white people that ran out onto the field and rounded the bases with him, cheering him on. His mother was waiting for him at home plate. Everyone was cheering for him, even in the Deep South. Hank was so relieved that all of this was over. At a party, he went into a room by himself and cried tears of joy. Hank didn't feel appreciated in Atlanta, so he demanded a trade to Milwaukee. He retired with 755 home runs. He wanted to be a commissioner, but everyone just took that as a joke. After his career, he spoke out about the never-ending racism. He still hasn't gotten over it.